Alright, guys. Once again, here we're going to be talking about a really cool anime that inspired me a lot. So, yeah, Shinja, let's get on with this awesome anime. This anime is called Hajime no Ippo. So, Shinja, can you tell us a little bit about Hajime no Ippo?
Yeah, man, dude. So this anime, when it came out, like, this is like one of the classics. This is an OG anime.
Yes.
The manga's been around for like forever, and then the anime is like really old as well.
Yes.
And it was produced by Madhouse.
Yeah.
I was like, dude, like back then I didn't know what Madhouse was. Like, it didn't matter to me, anime production company. It was all the same. It was like anime. But had I known that what the people behind this were, like, I would have been more like, oh man, this is gonna be good. Yeah, Hajime no Ippo, our protagonist in this anime, is named Ippo.
Yeah.
He's just a normal high school boy. He's living with his mom. She works at a boat rental shop. So fishermen come to her shop to rent her boats, and she goes out with them, and she provides them with all the equipment they'll need to fish and whatnot. So they're basically in the fishing business, and that's what his father was in as well, but he passed away at some point. And so it's just him and his mom. So Ippo really only cares about helping his mom out at this point. Ippo is also a huge wimp and a pushover and gets bullied all the time.
Yes.
He faces constant bullying at school and gets picked on by some hoodlums at school. They have the stereotypical Yakuza-looking hair from back the 1980s. But they're not actually Yakuza. They're just, guys at school that want to look tough, But yeah, at one point, while Ippo is being bullied, he is pretty much rescued by a boxer. Who's just like running like around, just jogging. He sees Ippo getting beat up. He scares the guys away, and they get to talking. And at this point, the guy kind of gets Ippo's interest into boxing just a little bit.
Yeah.
And so there begins Ippo's journey into boxing.
That's Takamura, though.
Yes, he's one of the big characters in the anime, like one of the protagonists, Mamoru Takamura. Really big dude. He's got a 80s pompadour style hair.
Yes.
Like that's why this anime, you gotta remember, it's old, so it's gonna have a lot of older looking styles, not just like in the art, but actually like the way everyone's like kind of designed as well.
It's
like,
very 90s and 80s to 90s.
Yeah, there's a lot of old culture in there, and it's really interesting to look at. It's really fun. Like
yes.
And
it's Madhouse.
Yeah, it's Madhouse. Yeah. And then you get your love interest in there, obviously.
Oh yeah.
Ippo wants to like impress, and then you got a bunch of rivals. Mamoru is technically one of them, but not really. He's like more the role model. He's like he's like, if we were comparing this to like Mega Man X, he's like X is 0.
Yeah.
And then we've got Miyata-kun. Miyata is basically in the same weight class as Ippo. He was there before Ippo, and he's like pretty much a professional boxer for his age, which everyone was surprised about. But yeah, there's a big rivalry going on between the two of them for like pretty much the entire series. And Ippo's goal, obviously, eventually, is to become Japan's champion, and I think eventually world champion. But he encounters a lot of rivals and difficult characters along the way.
Yes. Wow. So, I remember you recommending this to me, Shinja, back in the day. Well, I guess this anime got recommended by your big brother, if I'm not mistaken.
So my brother was into anime before me, but he's not a huge anime person. He was just sort of watching it. So I don't know how he came across it. Yeah. But he told me, "Have you watched Hajime no Ippo?" I'm like, "No." He's like, "You should watch it." And I saw more than him. Like after a certain point, I was like, "Oh, did you see that episode? Was that fun?" He's like, "No, I haven't watched it." So. Yeah. But yeah, this anime, like at the time, I wasn't into any sports or anything. Like baseball was probably the sport I liked the most, but even then, I wasn't hugely into it. So like, me getting absorbed into a sports anime, I would have never thought it would happen. But yeah, boxing in this anime is portrayed in such an epic way.
Oh yes.
Like the fights are so amazing. Like I still love watching regular boxing, but it does not compare.
No,
to like
once you see Hajime no Ippo, normal boxing is gonna feel slow.
Yeah. But it's weird because this is technically slower because like every punch, every decision that happens, like it takes minutes in the episode.
Yeah.
But in reality, it's only a few seconds in like real time. You know, that's just anime syndrome because you're in the person's mind.
Yeah.
But it's so much more intense.
Yeah, it's really intense. It's like that Rocky Balboa type of tense, but even greater. Because all these characters are from this kind of gym, because not Ippo or Takamura are in it. What was the other guy's name?
Miyata?
And...
The arm dude, the stretchy arm dude, is that who you think
of?
Mashiba.
Yeah, that one. And there was another one, right? The one that has this really weird signature move, that he just crouches down and
Aoki or
yeah, that one. I freaking forgot his name, but yeah.
There's two dorky dudes.
Yeah.
There's Aoki and Kimura.
Yeah, their background is it's very realistic. Like one of them never finished school and just went into boxing. Yeah. And they're good at what they add, and it's just like very inspiring. It's not just Ippo, but like my favorite one is Takamura, because of the way he fights, and it's just the fights in Hajime no Ippo are just like, it is still boxing, but once you see Hajime no Ippo and how fluid it is, thank you Madhouse, the animation is just top notch, even from the 90s. Beautiful.
Yeah, they like know exactly like how to portray just the intensity in like punches and like the swiftness. They get some amazing close-up shots of like you see arms swinging around, the wind spiraling around the arms.
Oh yeah, I love that. I just love that animation.
All the glossiness and detail, like it just looks so good. It's so satisfying, you know.
It's wow.
so it's like, you know, everything you see from One Punch Man season 1, or like you know, that very great attention to detail when like in the serious bits, like that's still there in like Hajime no Ippo.
And in the new Ippo series though, but we will leave that for later. So what else about this anime that totally like inspired Like, it's just so many stuff in it. The signature moves from these dudes are like beast. Especially the freaking Dempsey roll, man.
Yeah. It's one of the things I like about this anime, that a lot of the signature moves are real life adaptation,
Yes,
sort
they
of
are.
like
Yeah,
the moves,
totally
like the
inspired
Dempsey
by
roll.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Dempsey roll was like inspired from an actual like boxer, like
yeah.
a technique that he did, and so like other characters, they'll like take certain poses, and like it'll be like, oh, that pose is like from this other boxer, like they invented that, or they did that. And even the guy Mashiba, who he has like the basically the rubber fruit.
Yeah.
You know, they make it look like they have superpowers, basically.
Yeah.
You know, that's one of the cool things. It's just they stretch the bounds of reality a little bit, but like there were people who actually fought like that like their arms move so swiftly and so fluidly that they look like, oh man, they're basically like really stretching their arms out, like if they're made out of rubber.
And of course, this is an animation and more exaggerated, because if you see the Dempsey roll in real life, you're like, what the hell is this? But when you see Ippo doing it, it's just so exaggerated.
Yeah, no, it's so like the sound design is another thing that like helps, because like they start to Dempsey roll and they play freaking like an airplane jet sound, like you know, like the engines are starting to like, you know, fire up, and I was like, oh man, it's super ridiculous. It's like you don't catch it at the time, but it's it just really gets you in that mode of like, this is gonna hurt.
But like over in the anime, these signature moves had their own weaknesses, and this is where it gets even better. Like, okay, the Dempsey roll is very powerful, but this other fighter comes and like counters, and
was one simple move.
Yeah, it was basically like, damn, this fight is not gonna go well to Ippo.
No, it's never just like, oh, he got one move and that's it. He's got the trump card. No one can ever stop him.
Yeah,
you know, it's another thing to love about this anime. It's not just they get into the ring and that's it. Like, some people might just want that. They just want to see only the fights and that's it. But there's so much leading up to the fight.
Yeah.
The developers, they really made this so that you connect with both fighters before the fight starts. So like there's a lot of development in character for like
the
Ippo
background and everything,
everyone else,
why they hate each other. It's like that type of what people love about boxing and fighting, like the pay-per-view type of stuff. Like they're in this conference room and the guy gets cocky. You see this in Hajime no Ippo too. It's like
and it's all like, you know, like there's always something on the table for each fight, whether it's for Ippo or for the other guy. And you know, it gets intense later on, because like then they start bringing in the whole like fighting spirit bit into it, where their eyes start glowing green, and like they can like,
so cool, man.
You know, relate to each other, like I'm taking you seriously, you know, you're a worthy opponent and stuff like that. But anyway, so they do a lot of character development before each fight. And what I like about it, it's just realistic, because like you know, like a normal boxer, like they're just gonna be training and going around about their daily life. So like they're exploring that aspect, you know, like they're making a show out of that basically. And so when they get to the fight, they don't have to do flashbacks, they don't have to do cutaways.
Exactly.
They don't have to do anything.
In the moment, it's just that arc is just basically that fight.
Yeah,
Whether it's
and so
5 episodes or not, it's just straightforward.
yeah, like they'll do cutaways to people in the crowd reacting, which
Uh-huh.
is like good. You want to see
Yeah.
what everyone else is
Exactly.
like thinking, but they don't like move away from that. They like stick on like the fight,
The fights, exactly.
and it's so satisfying. You know,
Yes.
compared to like, I don't know, Dragon Ball or well, Dragon Ball doesn't really do it as much. Bleach or Naruto, you know, or like One
Yeah,
Piece,
this is-
especially One
yeah,
Piece.
Yeah, exactly. This is okay. So this is more like a spectator type of stuff. We are the crowd. We see the fight. We see a pay-per-view. We see something that it has been developed for months in the anime, but you know, like 3 months here in real life. But it all depends on the episodes and the weekly. But yeah, it is that type of feeling that you have with this anime, because it's basically Rocky, but anime.
Yeah,
Also, real boxing, Mayweather or Pacquiao, or any good boxers. There's not good boxers today, but it's reality. But once you see Hajime no Ippo, it's just satisfying. Like, I never got bored of it. It's just every single fight has a meaning. It's not like, oh yeah, let's fight, and like, yeah, there's some fights that they're just like, yeah, let's just fight, but there's development, there's a background, there's a why and a meaning of why they fighting. And man, Shinja, if you would have watched the so you have not watched New Challenger, right?
no,
Neither
so
Rising.
yeah, no. So like Hajime no Ippo came out ages, and
Yeah.
like ever since the first, like, I don't want to say season, the first run.
In
Like,
the 90s. In the 90s.
Yeah, like it stopped and it didn't come back for like several years. And so I didn't watch anything but the original run. And it's not that I don't want to, it's just that I haven't gotten around to it. And then there's like a lot of other stuff
Yes.
that I want to watch as well. But it's like, I will never forget the original run. It's so, like I said, it's such a good classic.
Yes.
I watched it a second time with like a roommate ages ago. Like they were into Muay Thai. And so, you know, Muay Thai isn't boxing, but it has like, it's, you know, similarities. And so I was like, oh, like, do you watch anime? He's like, no, I don't. I'm not really into it. I'm like, I'm gonna get you into it. So I brought out Hajime no Ippo, and we binge watched that in like a couple of days. We were just like episode after episode. He'd like, because that's another good thing about the anime. Like every episode ends in like good hook.
Yes.
You know, and so it was just so like intense. You know.
Yeah, and that's just fighting. This anime has a lot of comedy in it. Has a really good sense of humor. I mean, Takamura, obviously the one of the funniest one, and also the guy with the crouching signature move. And what was that move? What was that move again?
He had a weird, like, I think it was like a bunny hop thing.
Yeah,
like,
and
he named it
then-
after an animal.
Yeah, and then he just his signature move, there was like that follow-up from that bunny thing, and then he just started staring at the crowd or something, and then the opponent also like follow him, like, where is he looking at, and then where he punches him, like
Yeah, he like acts stupid or something. I can't remember.
it's I don't know. Well, he does it in the recent ones though. But yeah, it's man, it's just funny how he actually fights. Like, each character fights differently. This is why I love this series so freaking much. Is that even Takamura's fights? I mean, I don't know if it was the original run that he fought a tiger, a bear. I think it was a bear.
Oh yeah, he fought a bear. He went training in the woods.
Oh yeah, that was
in the mountains.
Yeah.
Yeah, like he punched a bear in the face and defeated it.
That's training right there, man. So he got this scar on his chest, and it's so freaking cool. It's just that resembles a lot of his character and his. He's heavyweight, right?
Yeah, he's up there. He's like one of the heavyweights. Like him and Ippo like are like in different like weight classes. You compare him to Ippo. Ippo looks like a tiny kid.
Oh yeah,
Ippo was already short to begin with.
Takamura's height is he's very tall. He's a really tall boxer. So
yeah. The cool thing about Takamura is they make him he's kind of got like One Punch Man syndrome, where they purposely make him like overpowered, because like that's one of his things. Like in each match, he like finishes it in like one round.
Oh yeah.
Always was a knockout.
Oh yes. But it kind of like his opponents got a little bit stronger.
He gets to the world champion level.
Yeah,
like
it gets
or like
harder.
he's seeking to get world champion, and so it gets harder at that point.
Yeah,
but like at the beginning, like they make him that unmovable rock.
Yes.
And it's actually like a really interesting thing that they did, because like it's kind of realistic. Like this whole gym looks up to him as their like pride, everyone's like enthusiasm and like levels are like really high up because they see him as this like statue. And then if he ever loses, or something happens that makes him take a hit to his pride, it affects the whole gym.
Yeah, because he's like that signature. Yeah, that's he's the oldest of the young ones that are actually boxing.
Yeah, in that gym at least.
Exactly,
he's also the best one.
Yeah, he's the best one in boxing. Yeah, he's just freaking good. I mean, Shinja, you need to watch the other ones, the new Challenger and Rising, because, damn, man.
I'm very
missed
aware.
Out, man. Like, you missed out. Like, it is pure greatness. I mean, Madhouse at its best. I know One Punch Man and Hunter x Hunter were the most bomb thing through these past years, but man, Hajime no Ippo how it is, and Madhouse just, man, 26 episodes is the new Challenger, and 25 episodes is the Rising. So man, it's just pure greatness. It's just Madhouse at its best, and yeah, man, I just can't wait to just talk about the new Challenger and the Rising, because there's a lot of good fights there. It's just amazing. So it's this anime inspired me a lot. Now that you mention it, that one of your friends, Shinja, was practicing some part of martial arts. Also me also. So I was actually into kickboxing, a little bit more closer to what Hajime no Ippo is all about.
Yeah.
So this anime fully inspired me to even get more involved in boxing. I was already in kickboxing before I watched Hajime no Ippo completely. And then once I watched this anime, I was like, I need to do the Dempsey role. that was my inspiration right there. But man, it is hard to do the Dempsey role.
Yeah. That's the thing. It's just like the fact that Ippo did it's kind of like like a miracle, So
yeah, dude.
But I mean, it's not because it's anime. They made him be able to do it.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's the way they portrayed it. Like it's a technique he came up with on his own, even though someone else made it.
Yeah.
But he discovered it on his own. It was his own answer to his training. He was seeking both offense and defense, and he found it in the Dempsey role.
You learn a lot of boxing stuff in this anime. This is what this anime shines because there's a lot of boxing style, and Ippo's opponents, they're not necessarily the bad guys. They're actually having other problems and, you know, personal problems. They have different, you know, different backgrounds, and they have their own style of fighting. And not because they are rough or really like really dirty boxing, because there's a lot of dirty boxing in real life, and also with Ippo's opponents. So yeah, that's what's great about it. It's just a variety of boxing style, and basically the opponents are not just the bad guys. They some of them become very respectful with Ippo too, and that's what I love about it. It's just not the antagonist from that moment is purely a bad guy. They actually change in battle too. It's so freaking satisfying.
Yeah, I agree.
Oh man, I just wish they could, like, I want Hajime no Ippo again, because I know the manga keeps on. Because this is not weekly, Shonen Weekly. This is actually some, I think it's monthly.
I'm not entirely sure.
Yeah,
I never
but,
kept up with the manga.
it's around there. I mean, it's a slow pacing type of manga. I think it already finished, but there's a lot to be animated, because I really want Madhouse to get his ass into this new arc, whatever it is. I just want a new Ippo and a conclusion of it, because of course our heroes need to grow up old and retire.
But I liked what you mentioned, like earlier on in the or before we started. You know, there's movies.
Oh, yes.
And I think it would be like amazing if like all these like fights, you know, they made them into movies.
Oh yes.
Not necessarily the older ones, but any like an extra new fights from like the anime or any arcs, they can make all that into movies. Because like the first, I don't know if it'd do great, but like the first like hour would probably be all like character development and like you know, background and all that stuff, and then the last half hour would be the actual fight.
Yes.
So I don't know how successful that would be, but I would definitely see it working in that format, because that's basically how a lot of the episodes already work. You know, they just be removing a lot of extra unnecessary stuff.
Yeah. But yeah, I'm up for a film too. Not a live action, please.
Just
an animated film with Madhouse. But yeah, I would like to see more Hajime no Ippo, because this is just, there's nothing else that can top the level of boxing. I know there's Metaro Box, which I love it, but it's very different from Ippo.
It's different.
It's very different. So there's a lot of people comparing it. I'm like, don't compare it. Hajime no Ippo is something else, and Metaro Box is it's it's a completely different thing. It's so yeah.
It came close, you know, but
close.
like they're trying to tell different stories at the end of the day.
Yeah. So basically, Hajime no Ippo is fully recommended. Go watch the 90s first. Watch the OVAs and the movies, and the new Challenger and Rising, which is greatness. Just
I can only at least recommend the fighting, because it's the first one that I watched. The fighting being the 90s one.
Yes.
But yeah, just it's really good.
Indeed. So yeah, guys, this will be it. Hope you like this episode. Go watch Hajime no Ippo. Fully recommended. you will definitely get into boxing.
Yep.
How inspirational this anime is. So yeah, guys, thank you for joining. This has been Zaropunky,
And this has been Shinja.
and we'll see you guys later.
Goodbye.